If any of you have been to our Palm Sunday pageant, or maybe even more so if you've taken part in it over the years, that chapter of John, and I think the one that follows it, if you read that entire passage, you would recognize many of the things that Jesus says there are the things that are around the table during the Last Supper part of our Palm Sunday pageant. And having been part of the Palm Sunday pageant for a number of years, a saying of Jesus that we quote in that script always jumps out at me now when I hear it. A new commandment that I give you, that you love one another. By this people will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. You know, he gave that commandment to his followers about 2,000 years ago. And any of us who consider ourselves followers of Jesus, well, that's a commandment given to us. I have to say we haven't been all that obedient. Love one another. How are we doing with that? How have we been doing with that? If we were loving one another like he commanded, where is the peace, love, and understanding? Where did it go? One of my favorite songs is the Elvis Costello song, "What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding?" I think in the world around us, it can almost seem like, peace, love, and understanding. To strive for that, it seems so idealistic, it almost seems naive. I had a person several years ago, when I worked here at the chapel, one afternoon asked me, why hasn't love overcome? Why hasn't it overcome? Why aren't we living in a world of peace and justice and mutual understanding? How come that hasn't happened yet? If we're following his commandment. Well, I'm not going to try to answer that today. I'm much too humble to take that one on. I figure if the Lord himself hasn't been able to get us to obey that, who am I? Who am I to tell you to love one another and expect that you will? Or at least, maybe I'll say that. That's kind of harsh what I just said. Maybe it's more like we don't do it completely. We don't do it consistently. You've been following the news for the last few months. I mean, around the world, Christians are being persecuted in places where Christians are the minority. Muslims are being persecuted in places where Muslims are the minority. What part of love one another have we failed to understand? Why are we not understanding that? As I said, I'm not answering that question. I'll leave it as a thought question for you. What I will talk about, however, is what is getting in the way for us as individuals and as a society. What is getting in the way of really obeying that simple commandment? I'm going to, in the spirit of self-examination, propose a series of questions for us to reflect on. And I hope these questions will get us in the direction of opening our hearts more than they're open now. The questions for reflection are, why am I so often afraid of my fellow human beings? That's number one. Number two, do I have a source of faith in my life that tells me, that convinces me, that I believe in, Do I have a source of faith in my life that tells me whatever happens to me, I'll be okay in the end? The third question I'm going to invite us to reflect on is, do I have a circle of family and friends? Do I have a circle of people that I can trust? And the fourth question is, do I have the imagination to imagine and understand what other people are thinking and feeling? Do I have the understanding to imagine what is going on emotionally and spiritually in another person's life? I think to live in that commandment to love one another, I think it requires two big things. One is courage, and the other one is imagination. Why am I afraid of my fellow human beings? Well, just look at the world around us. Around us is a world of, very often, a world of crime, a world of violence, a world of people are assaulted. Just in the last couple of years, right here in Southern California, some horrific mass shootings. And people can hurt us emotionally and spiritually as well. Sometimes the people we love the most, sometimes the people that love us the most, can hurt us. And whether they mean to or not, they can. When you put it that way, why shouldn't we be afraid of our fellow human beings? Why shouldn't we? We're vulnerable. It's dangerous at times. We're vulnerable, and we have no control over what may come out of the blue and catch us at the wrong place in the wrong time. Of course, from that point of view, of course we're afraid of our fellow human beings. And the question is then, what do we do about it? And this, I think, is the place where it is so important to have a religion, or if not a religion, a spiritual path. What we need is a deep faith that goes beyond all of the evidences, in the end. I know from my spiritual higher power, I know from my God, I know from my spiritual path that in the end, I am going to be okay. And, if you think belief is an opinion, that can't be an opinion. That has to be a gut-level trust that in the end, I will be okay. That's the second question to reflect on. The third one, where are the people that I do trust? Where are the people and who are the people that I can say anything to without, fear or shame or embarrassment? Where are those people? Where are the people that no matter what will have my back? I'm just going to pause now and just invite you in for a moment to think of those people in your life. Who are they? What are their names? Just think of their names. Think of their faces. Who are the people that you trust? I hope you're all picturing many, many, and coming up with many, many names. I pray that for all of us. The follow-up question is, how do I maintain and deepen those relationships? And the other follow-up question to that is, how can I be forming more such relationships? Can I imagine what others around me are thinking and feeling? It takes imagination. I'm not going to pretend to be more spiritual and more advanced spiritually than I, in fact, am. It's, the fear does get in the way. When I'm early morning walking around Redondo Pier in the harbor, and there's someone there who's dirty and in ragged clothes and acting really strange, I tend to shy away. All right? I do a little bit better at the garden church, where I think it's my job to welcome everybody in and to greet everyone and not be afraid. There I find that some of those people that seem uncouth, you know what? They may look scary. Underneath it, they're vulnerable. They're vulnerable and they're hurting. They're vulnerable and they're hurting. Well, guess what? I'm vulnerable too. And I may be hurting too. I think we need the imagination to understand our common humanity in every situation and with every person that we meet. Years ago, right up here on the hill, I was taking part in a spiritual retreat. It was a wonderful retreat. And I loved the facilitator, but he did kind of offhand say one thing that just kind of set my head ajar. Just casually in the conversation, he was like, even unbelievers, and then he went, I forget the rest of what he said, but I thought, even unbelievers? You mean there's like two groups of people, believers and unbelievers? I'm going to tell you, I don't see the world that way. I don't divide it in two. What I see when I look out the world is a lot of lost and lonely people, including myself, trying to find their way home the best they can. I think that is really all of us. If you've attained perfect peace and enlightenment, you can raise your hand. I don't expect to ever attain perfect peace and enlightenment anytime soon, and certainly not through my own efforts. I turn to a power greater than myself, and I realize all of the apparent, differences in social status and wealth and abilities and education. In the Holy One's eyes, we're all being called to find our way back home. Again, I'm proposing 4 questions to reflect on. Why am I afraid of my fellow human beings? Do I have in my life the faith that assures me that I will be okay in the end? Where are the people whom I trust? And can I imagine and understand and grasp? Everyone I meet is a human being with the same journey at the deepest level as I have. As I said, I think I'm not expecting peace, love, and understanding to perfectly manifest in this world anytime soon. I think we can commit ourselves to moving in that direction in our own lives, even if it's baby steps in that direction. I think truly to listen to and obey Christ's command to love one another requires both courage and imagination. Again, Jesus said to us, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another. As I have loved you, so must you love one another. By this everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." May the Lord give us the courage and the imagination to live that life. And in the Holy One's name I pray. Amen.